What's going on, guys? This is not like a normal video that I normally put out. I'm going to put it out though. And I'm going to say first off, I don't play with meta decks. I don't like meta decks. I don't have fun with meta decks. I have fun with fun decks. With that being said, one of my favorite decks to use, regardless of how bad it actually is Ghostricks. It's not your conventional Ghostricks decks. And I'm going to flat out say right now, most people are going to tell you to run Ghostrick Mansion. We do run one copy of it in this deck. However, this is not a Ghostrick Mansion deck. This is a Ghostrick Museum deck. We're going to go over the deck profile, and I'll explain some of the strategies in here really quick. But first off, go over the deck count. 3 copies of Ghostrick Lantern. Every single Ghostrick monster says cannot be normal summoned unless you control a Ghostrick monster. Once per turn, you can change this card to face down defense position. We'll just get that out of the way. His effect: when an opponent's monster declares a direct attack, or when a Ghostrick monster you control is targeted for an attack, you can negate that attack and special summon this card from your hand in face down defense position. He's going to be your starter if you go first. You don't want to set him, you just want to leave him in your hand. Let your opponent attack into him. Next up, we have Ghostrick Mary running at 3, running him at 3 as well, running Ghostrick Lantern at 3 as well. Ghostrick Mary, same thing. However, when you take battle damage, or when you take damage, period, you could discard her to the graveyard, and special summon 1 Ghostrick monster from your deck in face down defense position. She's your second starter. She's going to help you recruit monsters from your deck into face down defense position. Most of the time, you're going to run. Try to get Jiangshi, sometimes Stein, sometimes Skeleton, sometimes Mummy. Next, we're running Ghostrick Jiangshi at 3 copies. When he is flipped face up, you can add from your deck 1 of your Ghostrick monsters whose level is equal to or less than the number of Ghostricks that you have on the field at the time. Most of the time, he's going to be your recruiter to get your Ghostrick Lantern and Ghostrick Mary. We don't run any level 2s, so even if you have 2 up, he's not going to do anything. If you have 3, you can grab these guys, but most of the time we're going to be using him to grab these attack negates and special summons to help us recruit. A lot of times he might get killed in battle, so we just want his effect to try to grab one of these guys. Next up, we're running 1 copy of Stein. When this monster inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can grab 1 Ghostrick spell or trap card from your deck and put it into your hand. We have another card in this deck that does something similar. However, this is one that we have just in case we don't have 2 level 3s out on the field, or we aren't able to Xyz summon. Next up at 3 copies, Ghostrick Skeleton. When he's flipped face up, you can banish cards from the top of your opponent's deck face down up to the number of Ghostrick monsters you control. So if you have Jiangshi and you have your Lantern, maybe you have Stein up and you flip them, you're banishing 3-4 cards usually off the top of your opponent's deck, and you can flip them back face down. So it's an easy mill every turn. Last monster that we run in the deck is 1 copy of Ghostrick Mummy. Same deal, he can flip himself face down. Can't be summoned without a Ghostrick monster, so you're usually going to set him. He allows you, while he's face up on the field, that you are allowed 2 summons. Usually you're going to want to get him recruited while you have another monster on the field. So you turn 1, you negated their first attack, you got a Ghostrick Lantern on the field, and you have him in your hand. You flip Ghostrick Lantern face up, that way you can normal summon him. That'll allow you to have another summon. You can summon a Jiangshi, a Stein, or a Skeleton. That way you can start going into your extra deck and special summoning Alucard and Mischief. We're going to go over the spells now. Nobleman Crossout, super easy. A lot of these cards in this deck put cards face down. It's a super easy way to take out face down cards without activating any of their while they're face up effects. We run that at 2. Terraforming, we are running 4 field spells in here. Terraforming is basically your 5th. 3 copies of Allure of Darkness. Usually, if we recruited a monster, usually we can dump it with Mary or Lantern, draw 2. Next up, 1 copy of Mansion. Mansion is probably the best field spell out of the Ghost Tricks, but the mechanic for it doesn't work. You do take half damage, but you need their monsters face down, and we don't want to rely on more temporary cards in the deck. So we do run it at 1 just so that we do have the field spell where we can actually protect our face downs. The star of the show is Ghostrick Museum. Monsters you control, except Ghostrick monsters, cannot attack. Monsters can attack face down defense position monsters, but can attack directly if all monsters their opponent controls are face down defense position. At the end of the damage step, when a monster attacks you, you flip that monster face down. So your opponent just summoned 3 monsters. They're all going face down. Nobody move cross out. Take out the problematic ones. Start attacking directly with any of the other Ghost Tricks that you might have. Next up, 2 copies of Swords of Concealing Light. Basically stays up for 2 turns. It flips all your opponent's monsters face down. They have to stay face down. This doesn't stop them from summoning more face-up monsters. However, it will take out problematic cards that can't negate this. Next up, 3 copies of Ghostrick Scare. Target any number of face-down monsters that you have. Basically flip them face up, and then you can flip face down your opponent's monsters up to the number of monsters that you flipped. This is going to proc Jiangshi. This is going to proc Skeleton, and you're going to be able to mill on your opponent's turn and start recruiting on your opponent's turn. A lot of the times when you use this too, you're setting 1 monster face down and they don't have anything else face up. So you don't have to worry about them being destroyed. It happens from time to time, but usually you want to use this on any kind of normal summon or their first summon of the turn to kind of cut off their plays right there. Next card, 3 copies of Quaking Mirror Force. Another card that turns their monsters face down. However, this one turns them to face down permanently. Any attack position monster face down defense position permanently. They can't do anything with it. They can't Xyz with it. They can't synchro with it. They can't do anything with it. They contribute it, but that's about it. 3 copies of Floodgate Trap Hole. Basically the same thing as Quaking Mirror Force, except it's when they summon any monster, you flip it face down, defense position, can't flip it face up. This is a card I don't ever see anybody running in a Ghost Trick deck, but it only works in Ghost Trick Museum, and it works in any situation, but it works the best when you're going up against Link monsters, because Link monsters can't get flipped face down. Link monsters stay in attack position. Have Ghostrick Museum up, have Spirit Berry up. While you control a monster, you take no battle damage. Your opponent can attack you directly if all your monsters are face down, but they can't do any damage to you. And that's when your second win condition comes up with Skeleton. You're just going to start milling them. A lot of the times you're going to find people quit by the time you start milling them because they know what's going on. They can't do any damage to you. And you're running this at 3 copies. They can destroy it. You just get another one. And because we have so many recruiters for our spell and traps, Stein, we have essentially 5 field spells. This is gonna be live a lot. And even if they just destroy the 1, you have 2 more. Last card we're running, Ghostrick Night. While a Ghost Trick monster is on the field, your opponent can't flip summon. This is kind of situational, because most of the time you're going to want all of your monsters face down, so they're going to be able to flip summon anyway. However, if you do have one of your Xyz monsters and you have just used Ghostrick Scare, they can't flip that monster face up. The second effect of this card is if they destroy it, they can't declare an attack for the rest of that turn. So this is kind of the second effect. If they're going to be taking out your Spirit Barrier, they're going to be taking out your field spell. A lot of the times they're going to be taking out multiple cards. Have this one up, buy you a turn, you won't take any damage. It's essentially a threatening roar if they destroy it, and kind of protection for your Spirit Barrier and your Ghostrick Mansion and Museum. In the extra deck, 1 copy of Slacker Magician, just a card because we have a lot of level 1 monsters in here. Sometimes we just need something to defend us that won't be destroyed by battle. and has the ability to negate any cards that target it. 3 copies of Ghostrick Night. He's our level 1 synchro. Gains 200 attack for each Ghostrick monster we control. We really don't use this monster to attack. Most of the time, we will use it to reduce attack. But usually if we summon it, we're going to be going straight into one of our other monsters. I do have 2 Ghostrick Succubus. Can't summon it because we don't have any level 2s. It's just in here to be in here. We have Grenosaurus, 2 level 3 monsters. It's very rare that this is going to come up. But just on the off chance we can finish off our opponent, we have a Jiangshi, we have a skeleton, and maybe we have a Stein. We can't close out the game. Maybe we lost our museum, and we have something up. Grenosaurus, if he destroys a monster and sends it to the graveyard, you can detach an Xyz from this card and inflict 1,000 damage. 1,000 damage is 1/8 of their health. If you're summoning this, you're summoning it to try to get a little bit more burn damage. Next up, 2 copies of Ghostrick Alucard. You can run this at 3. I would probably want to run it at 3, and we could probably take out Grenosaurus, and then these 2. This card, 2 level 3 monsters, we're going to be summoning him a lot because we have Jiangshi, we have Skeleton, we have Mummy, we have Stein. His effect is you can detach 1 Xyz material from this monster, destroy one of your opponent's set cards. It's essentially another Nobleman of Crossout. He usually doesn't stay on the field long enough to get off his second effect because we're going to go into Mischief. Next up, we have number 75, Bamboozling Gossip Shadow. 2 level 3 monsters. If you've run out of value card, if you're only running the 2 like I am, or if you really need your opponent to not activate an effect, you can detach 2 materials from him, and that effect becomes both players draw 1 card. Simple. You draw a card. Can help you pull things into your hand. It can protect your monsters. Maybe you need to get off a Stein, or you need to get off your Reaper if they have a card that will negate your first monster's effect. It's very situational, but it'll probably come up sometimes. Next up, Ghostrick Angel of Mischief. We'd probably want to run this at 3. She can't come up at 3. We're running her at 2 because I only have 2, and I'm not going to craft another one. You normally couldn't Xyz summon her because she is a level 4. Ghostricks don't exist at level 4. But you can use any Xyz Ghostrick monster to special summon her, and you attach all the materials to her. She has a win condition. If she does get 10 materials, you win the duel. She has an ability that lets you attach material to her. We never go for that. It's a waste of time. Unless you got a spirit barrier up and you know they're not going to try to attack this thing, don't even bother. We're going to use her for other effect. You can detach 1 material from this card, add 1 Ghost Spell or Trap from your deck to your hand. This will help you get extra copies of Mansion, or if you don't have one up, or Mansion Museum. If you don't have one up, she'll get it for you. Usually you're going to want to detach either Duel or Alucard, because then you'll get their secondary effects, which are you can target 1 other Ghost Trick card in your graveyard, add that target to your hand. If this card is sent to the graveyard, both of them have that effect. So you'll get the search from your deck, and you'll get the search from your graveyard. Usually you're going to want to pull from your graveyard a Ghostrick Scare, maybe even Ghostrick Night, or maybe even one of your recruiters like Lantern or Mary, one of them. Usually they help. Don't like running this guy because I think he's way too powerful, but we run AA Zeus. 2 level 12 monsters, we don't run those, but he can be Xyz summon with any Xyz monster that took battle this turn. If you were able to get in a battle with maybe Mischief, Alucard, Duelahan, and you know that your opponent's got a board that's set up for their next turn, you special summon this guy. He's going to have 2 materials if you've just summoned Angel of Mischief, and basically just sends everything on the field to the graveyard. It's not destruction, just sends everything to the graveyard. So he'll give you a clean board, 3,000, 3,000. You get a wall. Maybe you have another museum in your hand, another spirit beggar in your hand, you got something set up. Last Geonator Transverser, you don't have to run this. You can run whatever you want. I've had very good experiences with this card, stealing Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragons, stealing Archfiend Lightning. I like it. It's very situational, but if your opponent sets up with a problematic card in the wrong zone, take advantage of it. It's only 2 effect monsters. Neither of them that get pointed to can be destroyed by card effects. Steal your opponent's monster. But that's it for the deck. I'm going to pull up some gameplay and give you some examples of how this deck can kind of work. All right, here's a match with this deck. I want to point out that instead of running Stein, I was running Warwolf. That was because I was trying to find another win condition besides attacking. If I got locked down or we both got locked down, I wanted to try to do something else because milling can be slow. I wanted something else. However, I found that usually the damage output we'll find is 100 to 300 damage, which is absolutely nothing. So I did end up switching it out for Stein. Maybe I'll get some recordings with that one. However, the deck basically functions the same exact way. It might even actually function a little bit better because we were able to pull some cards. But let's start. We have Ghostrick Mummy, Swords of Concealing Light, Ghostrick Scare, Quaking Mirror Force. We did draw 2 cards with our spell card. Set Jiangshi, he's a good starter. Quaking Mirror Force, and then Ghostrick Scare. This is going to protect our board. I don't remember what deck. This was a Cyber Dragon deck. So we're going to watch this deck beat Cyber Dragon. We're going to get the proc because we flipped him face up to flip him face down. So now we're getting started. This is where we have Warwolf. Set him face down, flip him back face down. Set Ghostrick Night. We do have a Quaking Mirror Force to flip anything that they do have down. Let them know we flipped this up. Even though they could still attack our face downs, we have no Ghostrick, but we want them, if they're going to try to destroy something, let's lure them to this. That was his first mistake. He couldn't attack because he destroyed our card. And normally we'd be in a bad position right here. But they're overcommitting. And because he wasn't able to attack, he took a bunch of damage from his Overload Fusion. So we have a Floodgate Trap Hole. We're going to flip Jiangshi, recruit. I think that negates. Negates. Flip them all face down. We should have done that first. 300. Flip face down. So now those 2 monsters have to stay down. He's going to summon. But we got Floodgate Trap Hole right here. Ready to go. Flip face down. And it's locked there. I'm gonna fast forward this a little bit. So we did some damage. I'm gonna do another Overload Fusion. Is that Overload? Yep. Send everything to the graveyard. He's gonna proc, banish top card. Warwolf doesn't do anything. We're not out of this yet, though. Floodgate Trap Hole. Leave him in hand. We want to negate an attack. Attack negated. Another Ghostrick Lantern. We'll flip him face up. So we can summon him, Xyz, into Duelahan. What we're going to do with Duelahan is have his attack by detaching. Then we're going to special summon Angel of Mischief. Use her effect. Detach Duelahan, search deck. Use Duelahan, grab Lantern to negate another attack. We can hit over him because of Duelahan having his attack. Just to be safe, Divine Arsenal. Don't have to use his effect right now. He's a quick effect, so if they do anything, we can clear their field. Floodgate Trap Hole, flip it right back face down. He's gonna double his attack for no reason. Flip face down, he stays down. That card keeps him down permanently. I was running a Ghostrick Spectre in this deck. Ghostrick Spectre, one of your Ghostrick monsters is destroyed. You can special summon him and draw one card. Connection failed. Here's another match that we had with this Ghostrick deck. I think at this point we did take out Spectre. We're doing Red Eyes. So we have Quaking, Ghostrick Scare. We have a bunch of cards that could flip them face down. We did start with Museum, face down, face down, face down. If they do manage to get over our board, we have Mary in our hand to special something else. We're going to flip it face down since he is trying to equip. Gonna mill. We're only getting one. One is one though, it's banished face down. Can't get that back. Do Red Eyes Fusion. We got this though. We took damage, special summon a Spectre face down. Quaking Mirror Force, flip face down. Those are down permanently. He can tribute them, but they're gone. And all they got are defense position monsters now. I'd still do run the Spectre in here. This is fine because we're milling. We're going to fuse them. Alucard. Use his effect. Destroy their set spell trap. Angel of Mischief. Use her effect. Detach Alucard. Get Ghostrick Scare. Recycle Mary back to our hand. So we know we're accepting at this point that we're going to take some damage. Spectre face down. Floodgate. Ghostrick Scare. He's face down, so we can use Ghostrick Scare. Normal summoned him. Big mistake. Floodgate face down permanently. We can flip him up. 600. Xyz them. We're going to Duelahan. We're immediately going to go from Duelahan to Angel of Mischief. Use her effect. Search. Ghostrick Scare. Get Duelahan. With Duelahan, we're going to get Skeleton in our hand. Attack directly for 2,000. Face down. Attack directly. Face down. The big problem with this deck is Xyz can't, your Xyz monsters can't go face down. This card gets them face down. He tributed, but guess what? Ghostrick Scare. Face down, baby. The big misplay here was that I could have flipped both of them face down. But we do have Ghostrick Mary. He does have 1800 attack. Set Spectre face down, attack, and now get flipped face down, attack directly for 2000. We have him at 1800. We have a Ghostrick Scare and we have a Ghostrick Night. So we're safe from an attack and we can set one of their cards face down. So we do flip this up. This is because, but he's going to destroy it. He can't attack this turn. There's a lot of stalling going on. don't think he realized that he can't attack. But that's perfectly fine. This is when we're going to steal this Red Eyes. Allure of Darkness. Because we can. We have 2 Ghostrick Marys. Get rid of one of those. Mill his deck. Activate effect to pull. We're going to give him this useless Ghostrick Angel of Mischief. Use his own Red Eyes Archfiend. Destroy his own monsters. Destroy his face up. Now I got Ghostrick Museum back up. He's not going to be able to attack. She is, but she's not going to be able to get over him. He's going to do Red Eyes Fusion. Red Eyes Slash Dragon. His monster's going to go right back face down, and we're going to get a special summon with Ghostrick Mary. Face down. Face down. Do me a favor. We have level 3. We're going to grab him. Level 3. What are we going to get? Out of your card. What's his attack? That's lethal. So this deck it's a little more consistent than typical Ghostrick decks you see. It's not meta. It's not the best deck ever made. It is a very fun deck. It is very fun to beat Eldlich players with. It's a little bit more difficult to beat other top tier decks with. It can be done. The way it combats Link monsters is having a museum with a Spirit Barrier up. It combats skill drain with museum and Spirit Barrier up, just because they have to flip their monsters face down if they have to attack. It combats a lot of things. Eldlich players typically use the skill drain imperial order. I know that that's going to take out your Ghostrick Museum, but they need both of those. This deck doesn't have a lot of spell trap removal. You're going to really have to depend on your Quaking Mirror Force, your Floodgate Trap Hole, your Ghostrick Scare to really lock up their field. Not a lot of decks play tribute monsters. And if they do, you just flip those face down. Eventually they're going to run out. This deck isn't really weak to kaijus, surprisingly. They're just kind of giving you something strong on your side of the field. Plus, you really don't have anything worth kaijuing unless you're going to start milling them with Ghostrick Skeleton. But even at that, like, if the trade-off sometimes isn't even worth it. Sometimes you're banishing 1 to 2 cards off the top of their deck. It's not going to make that much of a difference. So is it really worth kaijuing? Maybe. Maybe they want to kaiju it. Maybe you don't want to give them their alternate win condition. But this combo, the Spirit Barrier, Ghostrick Museum, is going to get you your milling win condition up. Especially if you can get 2 of these up at the same time and just start milling multiple cards a turn. You might have some Ghostrick Lanterns up. You might have some Jiangshis. You can flip a Jiangshi to get a Ghostrick Lantern. Flip your Ghostrick Lantern. Flip a skeleton. Then flip another skeleton. You've milled a ton of cards off their deck. Usually it's like 1/8 of their deck in one turn. Flip them all face down. Repeat. It does have some monster removal in the form of Nobleman Crossout since they're face down. Cards that would, if they negate spell cards targeting, doesn't work because they're face down. You can get them face down with Swords of Concealing Light. You can get them down by having them attack. Ghostrick Scare, Floodgate, Quaking Mirror Force. A lot of these cards where they keep them face down, you really don't want to get rid of them, especially if they have graveyard effects. Just leave them on the field. But that's it, guys. thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. It's a great Ghostrick deck. Not S tier, not double S tier, not A tier, not B tier. I think I feel like it's definitely more consistent than the other Ghostrick decks that I've seen. But take care, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.